The moment you pick up John's gospel and start reading it, you realize you're starting into something that's very different. There's no genealogy, no birth scene, no boyhood, no baptism, no temptation, no parables. Not a single parable is in John. There are very few miracles. There's no Mount of Transfiguration. There's no struggle in Gethsemane. There are no scribes, no publicans, no lepers. There's not a single demonically possessed person presented in John. And of the 7 miracles he mentions, he doesn't call them miracles. He calls them signs. These are the signs of the Messiah. But there are sayings in John that you don't find in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The wonderful I am saying. 7 times Jesus says, I am the light of the world. I am the door of the sheep. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And then there are many other discourses and teachings found nowhere else. There's no Lord's Prayer, but there is a magnificent prayer Jesus prays for us. You get the impression that John sat down. He had a copy of Matthew. He had a copy of Mark. He had a copy of Luke. He read them through and then decided what he would deliberately leave out and add what they forgot. It's interesting, John's language. I've always thought that Mark's gospel was the simple one. But in terms of language, John's gospel is the simple one. It's amazingly simple. The entire vocabulary of the Gospel of John is less than 600 words. By the time a typical child is 7 years old, he or she has a vocabulary of over 700 words and will add approximately 100 words a year for several years. Some of you got stuck somewhere along the way. But John's gospel, less than 600 words vocabulary. If each word represented a coin, John's coins are few, but they're large, like a 50-cent piece compared to a penny. And they're golden coins, royal sovereigns, the kind you would find in a rich man's collection of valuable coins. The word John uses the most is the word Father, 121 times. He's fond of the word believe. He uses it 99 times. He likes the word to know. He uses it in 2 different ways, 2 different versions of it. One 61 times, the other 56 times. The word abide, he uses it 41 times. The word Zoe or life, he uses 36 times. The word light, he uses 23 times. The word love in its various forms, he uses 57 times. The word truth, he uses it more than any other Old New Testament writer. He uses it 66 times in various forms. Instead of beginning with the birth of Jesus, or starting off with Jesus' ministry like Mark, John takes this bold step into philosophy and theology and speaks of Jesus Christ in cosmic terms. He presents a prologue, 18 verses, 18 incredible, insightful verses. He doesn't waste time arguing with anyone about it. He just flat out states the nature of Christ. That's because he knows beyond the shadow of a doubt who Jesus was, because he had known him almost all of his life. The result of his writing and the Holy Spirit's guidance, we can hold in our hands. It's a literary masterpiece. It is a precious gift, a priceless document. The gospel according to John. And he wrote it for one reason. Inspired by the Holy Spirit, John wrote this gospel so that you might believe. And in believing, you would have life in Jesus. Do you believe? The start of this new year, do you count yourself among those who say, whatever the economy does, whatever the government does, whatever new war falls upon us during the year to come, however we may struggle in the days ahead of us, will you be one who stands up and says, I believe Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God, and I believe in him I have life.